The storm knocked down that big wire.
Hey, let's jump our bikes over it.
Now, we better move it off the road.
No, you better leave that power line right where it is. There's enough electricity there to fry an elephant.
We didn't think it was dangerous.
You'd have found out too late. Remember, never play around electrical wires or you could be playing with fire.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
Kids, the lesson is simple. Don't play around fallen electrical wires. There's one lesson these old G.I. Joe public service announcements didn't tell you though. Don't play G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra.
Cobra!
This doesn't make sense no matter what excuse you use.
So now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe is here.
So what makes The Rise of Cobra yet the latest in licensed mediocrity? Simply put, it's a game that does only the basics and doesn't get any of them right. The game's sort of like a mix of 3D Contra and Gears of War. Like in Contra, you move your little character around shooting everything in sight. Like in Gears, one button lets you tumble or take cover and make pot shots at enemies. It even does that Gears thing where you suddenly slow down and listen into your earpiece while you get story snippets. Except here, the story isn't interesting or fun, and the voice acting is so laughably bad that you'll dread these moments. At least you can skip them.
Don't expect me to compliment your foolishness.
Shut up, shut up!
There's not a single basic element handled properly, starting with the camera. You get no camera control. It swoops around all on its own, apparently trying to give you a good view, but man, does it ever stink. You'll be getting shot at by Cobra commandos that you can't see and running towards the camera or behind hills, unable to see where you're going. Get in one of the slippery feeling vehicles and things only get worse. Pushing the stick forward makes tanks move forward, which is fine except you aren't necessarily viewing it from behind. The camera moves all around, so the direction you need to push the stick to make the vehicle go where you want it to is always changing. What a mess. The uncontrollable camera makes the cover system a mess too. A cover system like this only makes sense if you always view your character from behind, but you don't. So you'll be tumbling when you want to take cover, taking cover when you want to be tumbling, and even taking cover on the wrong side of the object. Then throw in the broken targeting system. The Rise of Cobra auto-targets stuff, but it doesn't distinguish between enemies, targetable buildings, and certain power-ups that you can shoot at. You'll be constantly shooting at power-ups instead of the guys with guns. You can switch targets with the right stick, but if you're behind cover when you switch, the game will retarget the default if you don't fire for a few moments. Why? It's a mystery. At least you've got a whole bunch of Joes to unlock and take into battle. If you play on your own, you're accompanied by an invincible Joe who doesn't do much damage, so he or she is mostly just there to soak up bullets. The better option is to have a friend join you in local co-op. On the occasions when you're in a larger area and you're not dealing with camera stupidity, the action is bland but functional. You've both got regular ranged and melee attacks, plus a limited use special ability. And every so often you can activate your Accelerator Suits, which makes you invincible and do extra damage. Activating your suit doesn't improve the gameplay much, but it does trigger a fun and familiar theme, and it's the only aspect of the Rise of Cobra that gets that cheesy energy just right. But in G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, the bad outweighs the good by a healthy margin. Add to everything else unbalanced characters, clunky boss battles, and having to start levels from the beginning if both characters die, which will happen every so often on the medium and hard difficulty levels. What was wrong with real checkpoints? Who knows? But even in the realm of thrown together movie tie-ins, G.I. Joe The Rise of Cobra is particularly poor. You're better off just watching the PSAs again. After all, they've got lessons we can all live by.
nice bike. Maybe we could borrow it? No, that's stealing. I'll ask for permission later.
Uh-oh. Looks like you're asking for trouble now.
Shipwreck!
How would you like it if someone took your bike?
I wouldn't.
And if you get caught?
I'd definitely end up in trouble.
Remember, taking something that isn't yours just isn't right.
Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!